Hey, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? It'd be a good, like, Christmas gift or, like, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Sahaman? No, that's October, isn't it? Late Sahaman gift? Yeah? colinmullen.com. So, hey, everybody. Before we get into today's topic, I want to talk about this painting just a bit. While I was on vacation, I went and bought some markers. They were going to be Coptic markers. Then I saw how expensive they were, and I bought bootleg ones instead. But yeah, I really liked the colors up there. The leaves were changing. Like, leaves don't change color down here in Texas all that much. And there were these pulp novels in all the bookstores we were going to, and as more so than any other time in my life, I was drawn to that aesthetic and attempted to ape on that style a bit. So those sketches will be up on the Patreon here shortly, if I can get the app to actually work. But anyway, that got me thinking, well, what if I use that color palette with the mannequin thing that I've been doing for the last little bit? And I think it turned out well. I don't think the color palette stayed the same, but it's the same limitations in markers that I had available to me. More of a pastel thing than anything else. But I think there's some interesting stuff there as far as the two concepts being brought together. And I like it aesthetically. I like it conceptually. I like it on a lot of tiers. So anyway, that's enough of me talking about the painting. Let's talk about today's thing. So, I've seen a lot of people freaking out that the end of the decade is coming, and I feel like this is a good way for us to tie in this concept that I've wanted to talk about, and it's sort of the reason why you should do this. So a lot of people, I guess, are freaking out right now that the end of the decade is coming, and it's like, oh, what have I accomplished? I've accomplished nothing, I'm useless, blah, blah, blah. And that's the reason I think you should date your work. Because, quite honestly, I doubt that. I quite honestly doubt that you've achieved nothing in a decade's worth of work. I've technically, after this month is over, will have lived through, I want to say 4 decades. I was born in '88, so like 2 years in the '80s, but that doesn't really count, really, does it? Anyway, so it's really interesting to see people going through this, I guess, the first time. I think the first time that I went through that feeling was probably the last decade, where I was worried about that. And then it was just another month. It was just another day. It really isn't any different than last year. If you were freaking out about the decade changing last year, which it has been, it was a decade from last year to 2009, right? Or 2000, yeah, that's right. So if you weren't freaking out about it then why are you freaking out about it now? Like, is it helpful to you that you are? Is it achieving anything for you? Are you happier because you're freaking out about this? If you can use that to fuel your energy, then that's useful. That's useful worry and time and stress put into something. But this is not, by the large part, useful. So what are things you can do to mitigate that feeling in the very least? And I think that comes to, I guess, what I'll probably name this video, is you should date your work. And the reason for that is it's really hard to see how much you've improved on a granular level. I wouldn't recommend you really go too in depth with your dating system. Maybe just, I don't know, month and year. That should be sufficient, because I don't think that there's a significant improvement between the beginning of a month to the end of a month for most people, unless if you just have explosive, crazy growth, which only usually happens within the first, like, year or so of you working on art, in which case you might, but after that point, it usually slows down, because, like, all of the easy things to learn, you've already learned. And so now it's the more complex, like, granular, small things. Like, if I turn my brush just like this at this specific moment on this specific type of line, then it'll look better. And that's why you slow down learning stuff after a while. But anyway, but you should date your work because, A, collectors like that. If you ever become famous, they like seeing that improvement. They like seeing where certain ideas came from and when they started being a thing. But additionally, like, it shows you an actual way of seeing, like, how much have I improved and when did I improve? I guess this whole freaking out about it being 2020 here soon is sort of based in the fact that I think people see 10 years as the same as 5 years, as the same as 5 months, as the same as 5 days, as the same as 5 minutes. Like, every single thing you've done in the past 10 years is really just, you think about it more like as in what you've done in the last 5 minutes conceptually. You don't really think about what you've done over the long term. Like, 10 years is a lot of time. I think a majority of the people who watch this channel are in their like 20s or so. So you are probably like, what? I don't even want to guess, but you're teenagers. Maybe not even at that point. And are you telling me that there's no difference between you when you were in middle school and now? Or perhaps you're still in middle school. I don't know. My point is that just like, you have improved. I strongly doubt that you have not improved in art, and if not art, some other aspects of your life. And if you feel like you haven't improved, then take this as an opportunity to improve. See it as like, okay, well, I don't feel like I improved as much as I'd like. Rather than using that as a thing to drag yourself down with, to beat yourself up about, just push forward and go, okay, I want more for myself then. That's what you're saying when you say that. And that's fine to a certain extent, as long as it's not self-destructive. What could you do to better improve yourself to meet that standard that you've given yourself, if it is realistic? I don't know, just some food for thought for you. But by and large part, I think you shouldn't be worrying about this, because you have improved, and it's just another year at the end of the day, at the end of the month. But anyway, let's thank the people on Patreon, and if you'd like, you could join them on patreon.com/RevScarecrow. You can check out those sketches I did, and the sketch for this one. I actually did one for once, guys. Isn't that great? I had some sort of planning rather than just going into this blind and hoping it worked. Cool. Anyway, thank you to the following people. Thank you, Wapfu. Thank you, Theodore Corbiere. Thank you, Spiral. Thank you, Spencer Kane. Thank you, Punkster. Thank you, Phoenixia Theoram. Thank you, Oboist Kirby. Thank you, Mortibus. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Maliciousness. Thank you, Lost Nevada. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Holgen. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you, Gaizuzan. Thank you, Daniel Rotwind. Thank you, Chiptune Glitch. Thank you, Cappy Rose. Thank you, Bubba Fair. Thank you, Bep. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Adam Kearney. And thank you, Ants! Thank you again to all those people on Patreon. Thank you to you watching this still. Yeah, if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, that's what this channel is for. Every other week, I'll be putting out a video on Sunday, talking about art stuff, sometimes life stuff, because honestly, life and art are intertwined in a lot of ways. So if you want to hear me talk and you want to see my paintings, go ahead and give me a sub, hit the bell, all of that jazz. But until the next video, I'll see you later. Bye.